Shalom, friends from all over the world. I'm here in the southern part of Israel. My name is Chaim Mailspin, and I'm so honored to be with you today, even if it's just by video, to connect, to be able to work together. This is such an honor because I look at each of you as heroes, Aliyah heroes. Some are from Israel, some are from America, some are from Canada, some are Jewish, some are from the nations, but it's time that we come together. It's time we unite around a common commitment of helping the Jewish people. We can share and we can grow, and thank you so much, David and David and all the rest who are behind the scenes helping this initiative, this council to take place and to be able to work together. These are historic times, and I love the verse that is our favorite verse around here. Probably you use it a lot there as well. Isaiah 49 verse 22. God says he will lift up his hand to the nations. And it says to the nations specifically. So you think of these nations all over the world, God's got a plan for them. And his banner, his Nisi, it's called in Hebrew, to the peoples, and they will bring our sons in their arms and our daughters will be carried on the shoulders. So I myself made Aliyah, a brief introduction about myself. I made Aliyah almost 30 years ago. I've been over 20 years in the Army, 20 years of active, I was reserve and active duty, combat in the Combat Engineer Corps Elite Unit for Special Missions. You can see I'm in my work uniform right now, deployed in the Swords of Iron War with almost 900 days consecutive service. And across Gaza, Lebanon, all over, deployed all over, on different kinds of missions, and dealing with tunnels mostly. And we got to be good shepherds. We've got to be able to help bring back the lambs when the wolf brings one of our lambs to the lair of the wolf. We got to be good shepherds, and we got to go get the lamb and bring them home. Leave the 99. Go search for the one and be good shepherds of the house of Israel. But gathering the sheep home, being good shepherds, I think it has to do not only with serving in, Second Lebanon War, 2006, Cast Lead War, Protective Edge, Swords of Iron, and so on with our unit and dealing with these tunnels and explosives. I think it has to do and airborne missions and Black Hawk teams and demolitions and all that. It has to do with all of us. That's why I'm glad to actually share this, not in a suit. I was going to get my suit on and a tie and share and make sure I'm all washed up first. But I just think we are in the midst of such times. We have to be able to be good shepherds, all of us, and gather. He who gathers not with me scatters abroad. And I really think it's time to gather. It's time to gather, help those who want to be gathered for sure, and feel it's time to come home, and that is the time to gather them. And so I run the Aliyah Return Center. Well, I'll get into that, but just before that, before I was a commander in the Army, before I ran the Aliyah Return Center to help the immigrants, before we started the Faithful Galileans charity, and I'd love to share about what each of those are, I was a young boy reading the Aliyah scriptures. And if you don't have them, I would love to send them to you. I'm sure that you guys can send me each of your emails. You can use this list of Aliyah verses, and you know what Aliyah means: the ascension, the returning to the promised land, the promise of the promised land coming true. And I was 15 years old and we were singing the songs of Aliyah, like songs like, "Then the redeemed of the Lord will return and come with singing." And it's not always easy, is it? And we were reading these verses. A man with white hair, a long white beard, met us, and he says, "I come with a sign concerning your Aliyah, your return to the promised land, and I want to, in short, I want to fund that." And he gave my dad a satchel of gold coins. This little, it was in this little old camera case. What is it called for the film? And there was a bunch of coins and stuff, and it was amazing. And I remember that it wasn't easy. Everyone cried, and we went to the airport, and you have to learn a new language. You have to learn how to read Hebrew. You got to learn how to do business. You've got to serve in the Army. And it requires a lot of sacrifice, and especially if you're coming from a country where you could go back to. I understand some people say, "I'll never go back to Ukraine," or "I have no intention to go back to a war zone," or whatever. But sometimes you say, "Hey, I just could go back to America." But I'm telling you, I'm still here, And through it all, we're helping others too. And didn't we? You know, I'll tell you more of my story when we get to hang out. But I realized at one point, you know, after actually meeting my father-in-law, Dean Bai, I realized, you know, I was a carpenter at age 30, and I always was involved in things that are patriotic, you know, blue and white Israel, you know, and I just realized, you know what? I need to not just be earning money. There's so many people that need help. There's so many people. And doesn't it say, behold, I will lift up my hand? It's like an oath almost. And my banner to the nations, and they will bring your sons in their arms and your daughters on their shoulders. And I remember Dean was saying, look, what if we took a step of faith? What if we would provide housing in this expensive country? And who would have guessed that we'd be housing lone soldiers in 5 cities, and villa for the immigrants, and so many other things. I look around the world and I see that these are very hard times. I'm sure you've talked about it a little bit already, how the ADL, the Anti-Defamation League, has recorded thousands and thousands and thousands of anti-Semitic incidents. It's unbelievable. I mean, the Tree of Life Synagogue back in 2018, 11 Jews murdered. Poway Synagogue, 2019, synagogue shooting on Passover. Jersey City Kosher Market, 2019. Kosher grocery store, Monsey Hanukkah stabbing. You remember what just happened in Bondi Beach? Look at that. They're trying to celebrate Hanukkah, and look what happened. 2017, wave of bomb threats. Texas Synagogue, Colleyville, Texas, in 2022. Hostages taken during the Shabbat services. Los Angeles Synagogue violence, 24. And then you go other places in the world. Hebrew Cache, kosher supermarket attack, Jews murdered, hostages taken in 2015. Brussels attack, 2014. Germany, you know, so on and so forth. It's just been a spike since October 7th, 2023. It's just spiked more than ever before. And that means a lot of people are wanting to come home. A lot of organizations, you're probably agreeing with me, you're noticing how many people are saying, wow, we want to come home. We're interested in coming home. Maybe they don't come home as quick as we want them to, but maybe they're saying we're interested. We want to know more. We want to know what help we can get to get our stuff shipped over here. What will it look like when I get there? Where will I stay? What kind of school my kids go to? And so it was 2013 when we founded the Aliyah Return Center. Been going strong ever since, and it's a charity, and it's working hard to give, you know, food, clothing, shelter to the new immigrants. I mean, we estimate about 1,000 families per month that we help in the different things that we're doing, whether it's housing, whether it's language training in our Hebrew school. We got a full-on Hebrew school. You can pack in there like 70 people. Job training. For employment, guaranteed money, you know, in the factory. They'll get that job, which they wouldn't get without our help. Food distribution, like bags, but we also give the food vouchers, you know, so they can go to the supermarket. It's like $100 per voucher or so. Scholarships for higher learning, clothing, new clothing. I remember I was dreaming to get 5 containers a year, the 40-foot, big old shipping containers, but they're full of new things. More than that. And we get trucks every other week, pretty much. Trucks are coming from different places. We're starting to work even with some Israeli organizations. Most of it comes from overseas. But some Israeli organizations have recognized and work with us as well. So we just want to fulfill the prophecies. We want to be able to, they don't, you know, it used to be that, and Dean was telling me years and years ago, they would come here and they would leave. Many would just not make it here. Doctors are sweeping streets. Becoming janitors, and they're doctors, and they just can't seem to make it here. They can't seem to get their logistics worked out. So that's where we help with them in the Excellence Center that we're about to open here. The Excellence Center that's like 1 million shekels right there. We're trying to build this, get the permits for this 5-story lighthouse. You know how many people we can house in a 5-story building we're calling the Lighthouse? And visitors as well, like you guys from around the world, to come with your groups. And you know, they need to connect to community. They need a path to success. They need a lot. But I just want to say, you know, I want to keep this short. I want to jump into some of the stuff that we do. But I want to share a little bit more about the other charity. There's another charity called the Faithful Galileans. Because I just think that without a furnace, without an altar with fire on the altar, it's very, very hard for the people that are funding this, people that are praying, people that are visiting, without a furnace of prayer and worship. It's almost like riding a bicycle. If you are riding a bicycle and you're not putting that one pedal of the word, the other pedal of prayer, the other pedal of the word and prayer, you might coast for a while. Maybe you'll coast downhill for a while, but you'll eventually fall over. And the spiritual engine, I would say, is a separate charity. It's a different one. It's called the Faithful Galileans. It's a prayer house, discipleship school called the Ambassador Academy, and a volunteer program, Stay, Pray, Learn, Serve. And I'm a CEO of that one as well, as a chairman. And it's places where people can stay, places where people can pray. We've got the prayer house. We're 24/7 online for the past over 5 years. That's through altarofprayer.com. But also they can pray physically in Vertical Galilee House of Prayer. And I invite you to do that. Please do that. And of course, the Ambassador Academy is right next door. We're working on the accreditation where you get 2 credits. You know, it's through Kenya University. You can make sure that our curriculum will be receiving those 2 credits and have young people come. And that's our goal, is to work together, that they'll be able to come and understand why they're supporting Aliyah. It's very important, the why, not just the what. And this is you have 2 hands, don't you? One hand is the prayer and the worship, the discipleship, the volunteering. The other hand is the practical humanitarian aid. And so you've got those 2. So Faithful Galileans is I believe, in the spirit, in the pattern of the tabernacle of David. And so the restoration of Israel flows from that moment in the tabernacle of David when you're there with God in the prayer and you're crying and you're saying, wow, God, this is what you want. It's not a vending machine, gimme. This is what you desire, is not only prayer to fill the land and worship. You desire also for the new immigrants to come home and be established and be taken care of when they flee from anti-Semitism in tattered clothes and with nothing but a suitcase. And sometimes they come with a lot more when they're coming from America, but sometimes they come from Ethiopia and they come from a war zone and they come from anti-Semitism. And of course, government helps some. But there's always room to help. There's always cracks to fill, and the tabernacle of David is this free place. Why do we use the name Vertical Galilee House of Prayer? Because vertical is ministering to God, like an offering, a sweet savor. That is ministering to God. That's the point of the prayer house, of this place of worship. And Ambassador Academy, that's where leaders are trained of all ages, the young at heart, from all over the globe. They come here, and their lives are changed. We've seen it for 13 years. We've seen people's lives be changed. And by God's grace, we're going to finish the expansion renovation of that Ambassador Academy. To the northern part of Israel, the region of Galilee, where the Sea of Galilee is, where the Jordan River is. It's a real place. It's the very place where Jesus walked, where he taught his disciples how to pray, where he called the faithful together. It began here. The world was changed from here. And God's not asking us just to remember the Galilee. He's asking us, we believe, to stand in it. We are the Faithful Galileans, and 2026 is a decisive year. Right here, 2 houses are being restored with one purpose. One is vertical. You can see it behind me. The Vertical Galilee House of Prayer. You can see the picture of the Red Sea parting, making way for the children of Israel to come into the Promised Land. We believe God is saying it's time for a living altar of day and night prayer and worship for Israel to arise, a place where intercession will never stop. The other is called horizontal. It's a place, the home of the ambassadors school, a place for volunteers, a place to welcome the nations, where prayer turns into service, volunteering, teaching, and sending forth ambassadors back to their countries that are going to change the world. Vertical fuels the fire. The Ambassador Academy carries it to the nations to establish this foundation, to renovate, to equip, to sustain both the houses. We are believing for $600,000. We know that's a serious ask, so let me be clear. It's not about building bigger, it's about building faithful. This investment in the kingdom restores a permanent altar in the Galilee. It creates a year-round discipleship that happens with service, a place where people pray, they stay, they learn, and they serve. It ensures that the fire does not go out. The scripture speaks of this valley, the Great Rift Valley, where breath enters the dry bones once again. It's declared in the book of Ezekiel, chapter 37, from ruins to refuge to revival. We're not talking about a regular tour. We're not talking about a retreat, a getaway. We're talking about a calling. We're talking about a destiny. Okay, it began here, and together we can keep this fire burning and growing. Lay a stone with us. Build the altar with us. Stand together with us in the Galilee. Let me jump back to the humanitarian aid one, the Aliyah, because this is the Aliyah Initiative here. By God's grace, the Aliyah Return Center, we call it ARC. So the other one is called TFG, the Faithful Galileans. The humanitarian aid is called ARC. Don't be confused. It's very simple. There's blue pomegranate, red pomegranate. Faithful Galileans, blue pomegranate. Aliyah Return Center, red pomegranate. And so it's simple. I keep it simple. But in the Aliyah Return Center, working along with not only this mayor of Tiberias and the mayor of the Jordan Valley, but also the former mayor and the mayor before that and before that. So we've really been able to see such a working together. Like when the lone soldiers are housed with us in 5 cities, they don't just find their way on the internet. They're actually brought by the army. And so when they come to our distribution warehouse, clothing distribution center, and called Livracha. It's a free clothing center. When they come there, they're sent by the Ministry of Welfare. They're sent by the Aliyah Department of the government. When they come, they need furniture, and they come to the Rimon. It's the Hebrew word for pomegranate. They come to our furniture warehouse. They're sent by the Aliyah Department, the absorption department of the government. So I find that so powerful that we're working with them. I think it's just a testimony, and it's wonderful. So also the Hebrew education. When you got the Hebrew education, which is just phenomenal, because without Hebrew, you can't do a business. You can't do anything. So again, I said we can cram in there like 60, 70 people in 3 classrooms. And so we have teachers that are approved by the Ministry of Education. They're proper teachers with a proper curriculum, 6 months long. And so this is really working well. And then, of course, at night, we do the business integration programs. Also in a different building, we have these classrooms to learn. I mean, how are you going to learn? How are you going to get your factory job if you're not trained for it? How to solder, do the soldering, how to do switchboards and all the, SMT and all this stuff. They got to learn. And so these partnerships have been very, very, very strong, especially when you think of the students getting higher learning. The brightest of these Jewish minds, and they don't have the money to get into university, even though it's cheaper here than it is in your country. But we're able to help them with that, which is just phenomenal. And I'm just loving to see that. And so that's kind of what we're doing. Also supporting the soldiers, lone soldiers who make their aliyah. Their family's not always with them, so they need to be taken care of. That's why we have in 5 cities places, along with a partnership. We work with this organization, and together we're able to give them housing, events, and take care of them. You probably know that some of the PTSD that people are experiencing, soldiers are going through. As a commander in this elite unit, I can tell you, I've seen it. And we're able to be that. When they make aliyah, they should be taken care of. And so it's phenomenal to see these thousands and thousands of volunteers. I'm really hoping that you can either start your own volunteer organization or send them to us. We always need more international volunteers to come to, and that's through Faithful Galileans, Blue Pomegranate. People love to come and plant trees. They love to. We have an aliyah forest with a skate park, with those bumps. And we want to see more and more trees planted. We are believing for thousands of trees to be planted to honor the heroes of Aliyah. It's an Aliyah forest. It's to honor the heroes of Aliyah. And again, I mentioned the lighthouse, this 5-story building. It has not yet been approved, but we're waiting for this approval. And we're going to build a 5-story building near the Sea of Galilee with a view into the Sea of Galilee. And like I was saying, the Excellence Center. Excellence Center is just a phenomenal thing because it also uses AI, so people can have conversations, they can learn Hebrew, they can help know everything about their Aliyah, what rights, and there's teachers there too, humans, but there's also computers, and you go into this, you want to develop your business, you want to open your business, you get all the help you possibly can on almost every level, and it's integrating this meeting rooms and all kinds of stuff. So we become a really recognized Aliyah and absorption hub. I mean, the government worker of the northern branch of the Aliyah department in Tiberias, he's received, I mean, such accolades, and he says, hey, this is because of the team of the Aliyah Return Center. He'll say that. And in Hebrew, Machaseh Haaretz Muftachat. So he'll say that, and it's just phenomenal. He'll say, other cities can learn. He's called Mr. Aliyah. That's the name the government gives him. Netanyahu, when he meets with him, he's called Mr. Aliyah. And so he says the Aliyah Return Center has made all this possible. Even though we're a private organization, we're working with the government. And he says, look, guys, we're very known, and other cities need to take notes about what other place in the whole of Israel do the immigrants get this much aid? Now, of course, a lot of them want to squish into where they think there's more jobs in Tel Aviv or Jerusalem or Haifa or Beersheba, the big cities. Our goal is that they develop the Galilee. So we continue to grow even through wartime. Immigrants still come during wartime. Anti-Semitism is continually rising globally, and it's urgent. This work is urgent. Communities are feeling pressure. I get emails every day. We send them on to, we have our own counseling department that works with us. And we see the anti-Semitism is really I think we've shifted from, it says in Jeremiah chapter 16, verse 14 through 16, I will send forth many fishermen and they will fish them. It says, and I will send forth many hunters and they will hunt them. I feel that the shift has happened. I'm sure you'll agree. Raise your hand if you agree that you feel the shift has happened from fishers to hunters. And that's just unfortunate. But the challenges include shortages of houses. My dream is to one day not just build that 5-story kind of like a hotel. My dream is to build actually these temporary houses, build towns in the Golan Heights, remove the landmines. That's what we do. It's one of our things we're able to do. And then in some beautiful area that we can get for very cheap, bring some sort of big money, be able to drop in these prefab houses when the wave gets really, really big. It's a dream I've had for many, many, many years. And I already know the cost of them, by the way. I already know all the details of how to do it. And they have bomb shelters in them, so they're missile resistant. And so there's people who just sometimes need this short-term gap to get on their feet. And when they're on their feet, they're golden. We teach a man to fish in the Galilee. They're not there with their hand out all the time, not at all. But the wartime has been a strain, not on just our team and on the volunteers and on going through, it feels like forever. We thought it was going to be a 6-day war, and here we are looking at, going on 900 days. Who would have guessed? And the PTSD is real among the soldiers, and that's another thing we're trying to get into, even if they didn't make Aliyah. We're trying to open it up, even if they didn't, to be able to open up more aid for them, maybe horse therapy, equine therapy, where they meet their horse, and they have a dinner, and they go on the boat, and then eventually we fly them to visit you, and if you have a horse, and we'll try to hook up some. Over the whole next few years, I believe we're going to be needing to continue building under fire, just like how it was in the Bible, Ezra and Nehemiah. So we're not going to stop, and we're just going to help them all. Another verse, Jeremiah 32:41, has been a very key one for us. God says, I will rejoice over them to do them good, and I will plant them in this land in faithfulness with all of my heart and all of my soul. Where in the Bible does he say he'll do anything with all of his heart and all of his soul? Planting them in the land is what he said he'll do. Giving them roots. And that is our goal with all of our heart and all of our soul too. And the Galilee is a lot of room to develop, really. It's not the most developed place if you've been to the Galilee. If you've been to like Tiberias and areas around the Galilee, it's got a lot of room to do a lot. And this region is not accidental. It's the very place that the greatest rabbi of all time, Jewish rabbi, chose his team. I do believe that, all rabbis that I know of believe that the Messiah will first will come from the Galilee. That's what they say. So our 5-year vision, guys, over the next 5 years, we really want to expand the infrastructure I'm talking about, like completing this 5-story building. I mean, not in 5 years, in 1 year, less than 1 year, and be ready. So we need to raise more money for that. We're only missing like 1 million shekels for that. We've already put a lot into that, and that'll be a place to begin to use. Complete the innovation center. That'll be another. We need to raise a little bit more for that. We're pretty well on track with that. This incubator with Eshkol Arim, this incubator, we want it to continue to be able to help their business ideas to grow and to succeed. And don't worry, I'm looking at the clock. I'm making sure I'm sticking with my time. Don't worry. Hang in with me. Make sure that the acceleration of their jobs can work, the accelerator. Again, in the other, I was saying PTSD and trauma therapy, making sure to have these facilities ready, pathways for veterans, taking them to other countries, as well as first, though, having a strong experience in the land of Israel. And even having a scholarship fund ready so they can have a few students can go, the best of the best, the brightest of the brightest will get to go into university and the business training school. So also the other charity, I know I'm talking about both charities with you guys. I feel I can do that with the Blue Pomegranate, Faithful Galileans. We want to make sure it's 24/7, not just online with Altar of Prayer, 24/7 at Vertical Galilee House of Prayer on the ground. That means I do my shift, I need you to do your shift. 3 hours. Come on. Global intercessors, linked, because I believe that all the prayer houses should become Aliyah houses, like Corrie ten Boom, right? And that's what I think when I say when I say the Tabernacle of David. I believe that those places will be hiding places. They will be Aliyah. I think, raise your hand if you agree with me that you think that prayer houses should and will become Aliyah houses. That Tabernacle of David, that righteous remnant rallying, deployed for his purposes and working hard. I do believe that the Ambassador Academy has a lot of work to do to train people that have been deceived by certain false prophets, false teachers. I won't say their names here because there's a lot of them now, even in America. And we need to make sure that it'll be full all year round. And I think we can do that together. I think money's not a problem. I believe that in these times, God is going to continue to supply every need. It's his covenant. The enemy has tried to destroy us, but he won't be able to succeed. The covenant will succeed. The word of God will move, will go forward, and will bear a lot of fruit. That's the pomegranate. You know, it's a one fruit, but it's got a lot of fruit in it. That's what we believe. We believe it's time to bear much fruit. You know, let your light so shine, so people will see your works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. So we're here to lay the ground for the next 5 years. I know everyone's talking about the next 5 years. What do they see? I see expanding this groundwork, expanding these foundations, preparing the next generation. I believe it's time to engage the next generation fully and completely. Engage them. We have a coordinator for the next generation, and we want you to connect with her and bring all kinds of young people here to train them, and not only when they're in their golden years. Okay, we need to train them. It's not just about Aliyah; it's about absorption. When we say Aliyah, we're talking about integration, attachment, climatization, culturization, integration. This absorption is something that, if it's not done with great care, with great effort, people can become the opposite of happy campers. They can become very depressed. They can become very, what is that called? Almost embittered. So that's what I want to see, is each person thrive. And so I really want to see the Galilee be a template that the whole country will be able to duplicate this in other countries. Our goal is to have, again, our center in Jerusalem. Like we used to have in the Jerusalem Hills. We want to have another location like that. And eventually also Beersheba, also, through Tel Aviv, throughout Israel. We want to be able to have, we're using the success of the Galilee. Who would have guessed that far off in the Galilee would be able to grow in such leaps and bounds? And also the media is growing really, really well. So we have a studio, and as I end, we do have a Galilee studio, and I want to see people as they come to be prepared to be trained to start their own channel. everybody. Okay, we want them to be able to do a podcast and then be trained to start their own podcast. We want to interview them, and then we want to be able to have them do a YouTube channel and a Facebook channel. We want to be able to use all tools that exist to maximize training spokespeople for Israel. And so the covenant of God, I believe, it has been attacked. And just like Goliath's voice used to be only whoever could hear the sound of Goliath's voice, that's who was under that propaganda, under that cursing. But guess what? Now anyone with a phone can hear Goliath's voice, Haman's voice. But we know they will not succeed. Every weapon, this is written to Israel. Okay, this verse was written to Israel, which is no weapon formed against you will prosper. And every tongue that rises against you, you shall condemn. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord, and your righteousness is of me, declares the Lord. So friends, please write your emails so we can all be connected. Please send them to me. I wish I could be there with you. Can't be with you right now. Pray for victory for Israel. Pray for the prayer house to become 24/7, for the Ambassador Academy to be filled all the time, and for all of these Aliyah housing initiatives to succeed and flourish. Friends, I want to say this from the bottom of my heart. Will you plant them in the land with all of your heart and all of your soul? It says, God says, when I regather the remnant of this people, is it marvelous in my eyes? Should it be, how does that verse go? Should it be marvelous in the eyes of the remnant of this people? Is it marvelous in your eyes? That's a question. And I say, yes, it is marvelous that a language that was dead, achshav chai, safa ivrit, achshav medabrim b'Yisrael. We speak Hebrew. We're alive. Am Yisrael chai. Nothing can take away our destiny. Nothing can take away God's victory and God's pleasure of rejoicing over us and planting us in the land with all of his heart and all of his soul. Last thing, Jeremiah 30, there's this false teaching about Jacob's trouble and saying that God's bringing us all here to punish us. Not at all. It says we will be saved out of it. Friends, say it with me. Say this with me as we end. They will be saved out of it. 7 words. They will be saved out of it. We will be saved out of it. God will judge those nations who come against us. May God bless you from the land of Israel, from southern part of Israel, from the midst of it all. My name is Chaim Mailspin.